If the Democrats knew, I mean, literally knew, K-N-E-W, if they knew 6 weeks after Barack Obama was sworn in for his second term of office that the Republicans intended to use the upcoming continuing resolution to shut down the government, how might they have behaved? Would they have done exactly what they did? Might they instead have said, when the Republicans said, we want you to stop Obamacare, the Democrats might have countered with, well, that's fine, but we have the White House and the Senate, and we would like at least a single-payer option, a public option in Obamacare. After all, it's what President Obama campaigned on in 2008. And just think about this for a minute, about the gaming, the strategy of this thing. Because it turns out that not only was there a meeting, and the New York Times reported this meeting in this article that I shared with you, well, when it was published, October 5th, we talked about it. The title is A Federal Budget Crisis, Months in the Planning. Not only was there a meeting right after President Obama's second inauguration that was very similar to the one right after his first inauguration. You recall the meeting after his first inauguration, or the night of his first inauguration, was at the Caucus Room restaurant here in Washington, D.C., and you had these senators and Congress, Republican senators and congressmen who got together and basically swore to be the Taliban, that they were going to obstruct everything Obama did. And they largely succeeded in that. So then he wins the second election, and they have another meeting. And this time, Ed Meese is running the meeting, the Attorney General under Ronald Reagan. And there's an interesting collection of people at this meeting, and collectively they signed a document which went up on the FreedomWorks website just 6 weeks after President Obama's election. And I'm going to read to you from that document, and it's going to curl your hair. It's going to shock you. But here are some of the people who signed this. Ed Meese, former AG. Chris Cicciola, the president of the Club for Growth. Jenny Beth Martin, co-founder of Tea Party Patriots. Penny Nance, president of Concerned Women for America. Ken Blackwell, president of Constitutional Congress. William Wilson, president of Americans for Limited Government. Dwayne Parday, president of the National Taxpayers Union. Sarah Carlson, president of the American Civil Rights Union. Andrea Lafferty, Traditional Values Coalition, president. Alfred Regnery, president of the Paul Revere Project. Louis Uhler, president of the National Tax Limitation Committee. Brent Bozell, president for America. Matt Kibbe, president of FreedomWorks. Marjorie Dannensfeller, president of Susan B. Anthony List. And these are probably people you've never heard of, but these people wield a lot of power in this town. David Williams, president of the Taxpayer Protection Alliance. The Honorable David McIntosh, former U.S. Representative of Indiana. David Bozell, executive director of For America. Colin Hanna, president of Let Freedom Ring. Stuart Epperson, president of the Council for National Policy. Heather Higgins, president of the Independent Women's Forum. Cindy Chaffian, president of the Mommy Lobby. Gary Bauer, president of American Values. Mike Needham, CEO of Heritage Action for America. David Bossie, president of Citizens United. Matthew Staver, chairman of the Liberty Council Action. James Martin, chairman of the 60 Plus Association. Eric Erickson, editor of RedState.com. T. Kenneth Cribb, former domestic advisor to Ronald Reagan. Bethy Norton Dunlop, former White House advisor to Ronald Reagan. Grace Marie Turner, president of the Galen Institute. Myron E. Bell, president of the Freedom Action. Craig Shirley, Reagan biographer. Lou Sheldon, Reverend Lou Sheldon, chairman of the Traditional Values Coalition. Richard Rahn, president of the Institute for Economic Growth. Getting it? This is no group of slouches, right? Lee Bayman, businessman from Nashville, Tennessee. Bob Record, executive director of the Council for National Policy. The list goes on. All right, there's another dozen or so names. This is published at freedomworks.org. And you can find it right now. Unfortunately, when I printed it, I didn't print the URL along with it, so I'll have to track it down and give it to you. But the title of it is Coalition Letter. Congress must honor sequester savings and defund Obamacare before it's too late. It's posted by Matt Kibbe, president, I believe he's the president of Freedom Works, on February 14th, 2013. That's roughly 6 weeks after the president was sworn into office. It'd be 6 weeks? No, it would be 12 weeks, roughly. 10 weeks, something like that. Month and a half after he was sworn in. And here's what it says. Quote, conservatives should not approve a continuing resolution unless it defunds Obamacare. This includes Obamacare's unworkable exchanges on sustainable Medicaid expansion and attack on life and religious liberty. It actually starts out saying, Freedom Works has signed on to the following memo to the Movement by Conservative Action Project. The current continuing resolution funding the government expires on March 27th, setting up an opportunity for Congress and President Obama to honor the bipartisan sequester savings already agreed upon. It also presents an opportunity to achieve even more savings by defunding and stopping the implementation of Obamacare. Conservatives cannot support a continuing resolution. But basically, this is the planning document. It's online. In fact, the New York Times links to it from their article. If you want to find it, just go to the New York Times, October 5th, A Federal Budget Crisis Months in the Planning by Cheryl Gay Stolberg and Mike McIntyre. And in the second paragraph, it links to the blueprint to defunding Obamacare, which is what I have in my hand and I'm reading to you from. So the Democrats should have seen this coming. I mean, here you had all these conservative groups saying, shut down the government, refuse to sign the continuing resolution. That means shut down the government until Obamacare is defunded, which raises some really interesting questions. I mean, this obviously was no secret to any conservative Republican in this town. Every organization that gives money to Republicans signed this thing, or nearly all of them. So the Republicans knew wait a minute, President Obama, he ran for office in 2012. He was elected in January of he was sworn in January of 2013, and this is February 14th, 2013. So this is like 5 weeks after he was sworn in. Yeah. So 5 weeks after he was sworn in, the conservatives knew they were on course to shut down the government. Now, if the Republicans, the conservative Republicans, knew this, that they were going to do this, that all these groups were pushing them to do this, it makes sense that the Democrats would have figured this out. So did they strategize this right by simply saying, no, it ain't going to work, we're not going to do it? I mean, it certainly looks like it has, there's big-time mud on these right-wing groups' faces. So did they play this thing out right? Or could they have used this? Could they have started, the day after Freedom Works published this, could they have started warning us that the Republicans were going to try and shut down the government? And by the way, let's roll back the Reagan tax cuts. The Republicans are going to shut down the government. By the way, let's change our trade policies back to what they were before Reagan. I mean, this was led by Reagan's Attorney General, Ed Meese, the pornography guy. 15 minutes past the hour.